Hi again everybody, Alison here. Welcome to Windmills Cafe Virtual Cooking School in conjunction with North Lanarkshire Council's Virtual School. So today we're making something really tasty and really easy, and it's Chinese chicken foo young. I don't know if any of you have tried it. I know that sometimes in the Hutley and Motherwell they have that foo young out, and what it is, it's basically like a Chinese omelette. Very tasty and very easy, so I'll show you how to do it. What we've got for the recipe is 2 chicken breasts, 75 grams of button mushrooms, a large onion, 2 carrots, 8 eggs, 60 grams of frozen peas that have been defrosted. We've got a tablespoonful of groundnut oil and 2 teaspoonfuls of sesame oil, some salt and some white pepper. So first of all, I'm going to start by peeling and chopping my carrots. But before I do that, I just want to mention a couple of wee things here. I've tried over the years to make Chinese food, and it's worked, but it didn't taste quite like you get in the restaurants. And now I know the secret, and the secret is 2 wee simple ingredients: white pepper and sesame oil. And if you think, oh, I can't be bothered getting them, you're not going to get the same taste. It's them that make it taste like it does with Chinese, honestly. So I just wanted to point that out. But I'll start with my carrots, and I'll just peel them down with my potato peeler. Whoops. Now these have to be cut really, really thin. It might be that you want to keep going with the peeler once you get rid of the dirty bit. Bowl. I'll chop off my ends and just that wee bit. So just be careful that you not get any these bits. Now if you wanted to go for slivers, which I'll show you what I mean, you can do this, but it would maybe take a long while. You would just make these like ribbons, and you can keep going like that, or you just chop your carrot down the middle longwise. Maybe do it like this to make it even easier. And just as thin as you can get it. Any wee bits. Now this is probably the most annoying bit of the whole process, is getting your carrots nice and thin. A really sharp knife is important. Chopping away at these carrots to get them as thin as I possibly can. The reason being that carrots take a wee bit long to cook when you're frying them. Another thing, I've got my wok or my big frying pan or whatever. I'd suggest you get the biggest frying pan you've got if you've not got a wok, and have it heating just now, because it's got to be sizzling hot for when you, it's got to be sizzling hot for when your food goes in it. Okay, just using your knife to pick up all the waifs and strays. Okay, now my onion. Again, thinly sliced, maybe not quite as thin as the carrot, but top and tail it, slicing in there to get rid of the skin and the tough outer layer. Get rid of that. Again, sharper knife you use for slicing these vegetables is better. However, again, it's much more important that you're safe than that your vegetables look right. So use whatever you're safe. So you're halving the onion down the middle and then placing it like that and making as thin slices as you can. Just like almost like a razor. And just keep doing that down the whole onion. The onions all chopped, not chopped, rather sliced. I'm going to just put them on top of, I'm making a mess here, put them on top of my carrots, because they're all going to go into the frying pan at the same time. Then I'm going to start on my mushrooms. Again, you're nice and good, like good for scooping up all the bits and pieces that are left from the chopping board. That's that. So now the mushrooms, these have been washed, and I'm just going to slice these thinly again. Give a wee bit swittery, it's a good word. Just keep persevering. Roughly like that, and try and keep them all roughly the same size if you can, because it's important that things cook at the same time. But if you can't get them all exactly the same size, it doesn't really matter. Put them in here because I've got more room left there. And then we're going on to thinly slice our chicken breast. And again, it's to just be in these slivers. So you're trying to get as tiny a wee sliver of chicken as you can. Probably like that, maybe even a wee bit thinner. We'll see how it goes. Now that's too thick. So what I would do with this bit then is cut it down the middle. Okay, so that you're getting. So I'll be making lots of these out of your chicken breasts. So cutting it through there and then down through the middle again, so that you get very thin strips of chicken. And any that look a wee bit big, just thin them again. So I've got all my chicken sliced as thinly as I could, and now I'm going to crack the eggs. So I use, over here, a sharp knife. You can hit it off the side of the bowl, but I find this easier. I've got my bowl for rubbish. You need to be careful that you don't get any shell. Just whisking your eggs. If you've not got a whisk, a fork will do, but it is a wee bit easier just for a whisk. And they don't need to be perfect, just breaking up all those yolks. Like there I've got a random one that's still whole, so just swirling them about. You maybe don't want them all completely whisked totally, still leaving them a wee bit of yolk. But they're like that. And that'll do that. And you set that aside. In fact, what we do now is actually we put the peas in here, and you just mix them about so as they're evenly in the peas, and you leave that just now. So we've got our wok or our large frying pan on really, really high. If you don't have a huge frying pan or a really wide one, I suggest you do this in two again, because it takes up a lot of space in the frying pan. And this Chinese cooking is really, really fast, so you can't believe it, but this dinner, once you've done all this bit, this dinner literally takes like about no more than five or 6 minutes to make. So before we start cooking, I'm going to get my spatula so that I can stir, because part of the art of stir frying is that where you're stirring it and it's cooking it quickly. So first of all, I'm putting a tablespoon of groundnut oil in, and I'm letting it go about the wok till it's really hot and smouldering. And when I leave that just till it's, now the wok's been on for a while, so it should be hot, but I'll wait till I see that it's really hot, and then I'm going in with my vegetables. Really important that you don't drop this in if the oil will splash, so you're lowering it in very carefully. If you hear it sizzling, that's your carrot, your onions, you're stirring them about a minute or two, and then adding your mushrooms. stir this as much as you can for about 2 to 3 minutes. So it's all nicely coated in the oil and it's all starting to cook. So because we're cooking a lot of vegetables and a lot of chicken, I'm going to remove the vegetables just now and then cook my chicken and then add it all back together again. So I'll just do this just now. It's quite heavy, but I'll put these here and just set them aside. They've got a nice smell, gorgeous, and there's a nice sort of colour coming on them. You can tell onions are starting to get cooked because they go a wee bit see-through, like almost, you call that transparent instead of being opaque. It's me using fancy words, but that's how you can tell an onion is cooked or starting to cook. So here's the vegetables ready. I'm going to put a wee drop more oil in my pan and start to cook my chicken. Added an extra wee bit more groundnut oil in as well. You want it really high heat, and again you're frying this for about 3, 4, 5 minutes. Depending on how thin you've cut it. So I would say probably about 5 minutes. You'll know when it's white all the way through, and I'll show you when that happens. So you're stirring it and turning it over, and the chicken that's pink starts to go white as it cooks. And you'll see if there's any pink in the inside, which there isn't, it's ready. But if there is, it needs to stay on for some more minutes. Okay, so it's completely white. So back in with the vegetables, pile them all in. This is really lovely. You won't believe how simple it is and how tasty. Stir it all. I'm going to put quite a wee bit of salt here over it all, and a good bit of white pepper, which really lifts the flavours up. And I'm going to stir all that together. Maybe even just for good measure add a wee bit more pepper because I like it. And then turn your heat lower and you go in, mix through your eggs and peas again, and just pour this in. Just plop it all in like that. Plop it in, and then you just start to stir. And like almost you would make scrambled eggs, and you just stir it round like this till the eggs start to cook. You're just mixing it all together. So it's like scrambled eggs with all these Chinese and vegetables through. Now the key ingredient here along with the white pepper is your sesame oil, and you drizzle that all over the top. Okay, give it a wee stir in and serve.